national emergencies. They're so easy that an orange despot wannabe cunt monkey can do it. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on East Coast Radio.
Mile journey begins with one step. Progressives took that step on November 6th. The journey's not over, but we took a step in the right direction.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Did you see New York 11 elected a Democrat? New York 11 is Staten Island, the most Trumpian place in New York City. Elected a Democrat. Don't try to tell me it wasn't a wave. Robert Mueller isn't the only person investigating Trump now. We have the House Intel Committee is now chaired by Adam Schiff, and they have subpoena power. And he will use it. And he will get to the bottom of this, like he's been trying to do for the last 2 years, and Devin Nunes has been stymieing him. Devin Nunes is no longer the chairman. The midnight runs to the White House are over. I made a promise to the listeners of East Coast Radio that if the Democrats did not mess up November, that if November 6th went our way, that we would have a little fun here on East Coast Radio. And if you stay tuned, I promise you this. Along with our fighting fascism and trying to save democracy, we will have a little fun. Because we earned it. Keep it locked to East Coast Radio.
Representing Staten Island.
Remember, we got Dyze in your house at the end of the week. We got the J Parks podcast at the beginning of the week. Every week, East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Get us on Patreon, patreon.com/JParks, and follow us on Twitter at East Coast Radio. Let's punch fascism in the face. One podcast at a time.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived. Representing Staten Island. Staten Island was no joke.
Hey yo, who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? It is Friday, it is the evening, and we are back here on East Coast Radio with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. Let me tell you what we do here on Dyze in your house. This is the pre-show, the post-show, the prelude to the J Parks podcast. The J Parks podcast is the vehicle in which we use to fight fascism every week. And, you know, Alexa, tell me a little bit about fascism.
Fascism is a form of radical authoritarian ultranationalism, characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition and strong regimentation of society and of the economy, which came to prominence in early 20th century Europe.
Yeah, we don't want any of that here in America. We didn't sign up for that. We signed up for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and, you know, and that's what we're going to do. And we're not going to let authoritarians rise. And every time something authoritarian-y is happening, I'm going to come to you with a podcast. Now, the J Parks podcast used to be a potpourri of life events. A week in the life of J Parks. Let me complain about, I missed the bus today. Oh, this happened at my job. November 2016, ish got real. And it got so real that we needed to dedicate the entirety of our podcast, the entirety of the J Parks podcast, to fighting fascism. And not only that, we had to get another podcast to get a pre-show because there's so much fascism, so much handwork coming out of our gloves, you know what I'm saying? Like George Costanza said on that episode of Seinfeld with the Pez dispenser. Lot of stuff. So today, give you a little inside baseball. I wanted to do 2020 Dems. I want to do 2020 Dems like all the time. I just want to talk about the Democratic primary, who I like, who I don't like, what this is going to look like. That's all I want to talk about. But every time I get usurped by this orange clown. So let's go over what the deal. First of all, there is a national emergency. It's that there's a Russian asset in the White House. That's the national emergency. And everybody should be alarmed that is a thing. Okay? So just, let's get it on out there now. Also, emergencies aren't things you plan for 3 months. That's actually, if you look up the definition of emergency, it will definitely not say, wait 2 months to do it, or 3 months to do it. That's not a thing. So, this clown declaring a national emergency and diverting funds from the Pentagon to go build a wall that doesn't need to be built because there's no emergency, because there's no crisis, because there's no caravan. That is made up stuff. Okay? Chris Hayes had a show with the border yesterday. Not one person was hopping over the wall or digging. And let's just go over, like, immigration is at from Mexico is at its lowest point it's been in 30 years. 30 years. And, like, we have people who think that the Green New Deal, socialism, the Green New Deal, how are we going to pay for that? 3% of the military budget. You know, some of those funds that were just diverted from the Pentagon to go to the border to build a wall that we don't need, that's not going to get built. Let's not pretend that a wall is getting built. This is going to get shot down in court. But it's interesting. It's interesting in terms of if I'm Nancy Pelosi right now, do I sue? Or do I say, you know what? You want to set the precedent for national emergencies? Don't worry. We got you. Because as soon as there's a Democrat in office, gun control, an actual national emergency, by the way. Let's not, the talking point of, when a progressive gets in there, and they're gonna, do national emergencies for all this progressive stuff, like, voting rights and healthcare, and but first of all, how about guns? So kids can stop being killed. That's what we need to concern ourselves with. That's an actual national emergency. Today, in Aurora, open fire. Somebody ran up a Netflix. Open fire. Now, I mean, some might say that Netflix should stop canceling Marvel shows and people won't do that. But, all kidding aside, we live in a country where there's more guns than people. We live in a country where you're not allowed to sue a gun manufacturer when their gun is used as a killing machine to mow down innocent children. I'd like to get the list of senators that voted for that bill, not allowing citizens to sue gun manufacturers. I would love to talk to all of the senators that voted for that bill. Bernie Sanders voted for that bill, so I'm just letting you know that that's a thing. But I'm not talking, I was going to say, but I'm not talking about 2020 Dems. If I was talking about 2020 Dems, I wouldn't bring up Bernie Sanders anyway, because Bernie Sanders ain't a fucking Democrat. So there's that. National emergency. Ann Coulter says that the only national emergency is that the president's an idiot. So you didn't even win Ann Coulter. Lindsey Graham. What is Lindsey Graham's endgame here? Is he done with public service? Like, does Lindsey Graham think that his time serving the American people and the constituency as in, was it South Carolina? Is that over? Because he sure behaves like it's over and it's not a thing that he cares about anymore. Because he behaves like a Russian asset. It's insanity. Trump needs to do the national emergency. It's the only way. Dude, famous last words, pal. Just like that. Same thing with the Merrick Garland president. Like, you guys think you guys are not getting away with that. We will get that seat back. We got new politics. This is what I'm calling it now. East Coast Radio, we're calling it the new politics. Because we're shaking it like a bad girl up in Harlem, man. No, that's not why. That's not why it's the new politics. It's the new politics because we got a thing. There's a new thing in voting. There's a new thing in election season that just came out. You know what it's called? Young people. And you know what they do? They watch their friends get shot and killed in front of them. And you know what they do? They vote for people that believe in common sense gun laws. Not people with A ratings from the NRA. And a majority of Congress people, senators, people running state legislature, a lot of people that believe in common sense gun reform are also people that are more progressive than not. And listen, no one's coming to take your guns away. We just don't want to give guns to dangerous people. Now, you know, if you start actually, like, if you actually build a wall at the Mexican border through a national emergency, then I promise you this, I will support a Democratic president making a national emergency and declaring a national emergency and taking all your guns away. So that's going to happen. So, Republicans, be careful what you wish for. When you make your bed, remember that you have to sleep in it. And there is going to be it may be delayed gratification. And no one is assuming that this guy's not going to win re-election. No one's assuming that. That's not something we can assume. That's dangerous. Because remember, Hillary Clinton was president, remember? Well, that didn't happen. Because we assumed. And what happens is when you assume, you make an ass out of America. That's what you do. So we gotta stop assuming things. We gotta do everything in our power. And this national emergency will probably be shot down in court. It's just a cop-out, a way for him to get out of the spending deal and make it look like a win. Because remember, Mexico's paying for the wall. Remember that? Remember Mexico was paying for the wall? And I don't want to, like, I don't want to, like, break down what things mean, but, like, people that voted for Trump, oh, he's a businessman, he's a capitalist. What kind of capitalist builds a fucking wall to keep people out? We got a country, we got people in this country, we got American workers, American employers in this country that would hire people from Mexico who make less money than people from Brooklyn. That's that's capitalism. I'm not the one that's you know, voted for it, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a founding father. I'm just saying that's how this works. What kind of asshole? Like, oh, they're sending all their money back to Mexico. Who the fuck cares what they do with their money once they make it? Their job is done. They were paid for a job. That's one of the things that drives me nuts. I busted out human rights on a job interview yesterday. Facts. They were like, something you're passionate about outside of work. Human rights. Bang. Try not to give me that job. But in all seriousness, the national emergency stuff, it's only gonna end up with some really progressive national emergencies. I believe the last two national emergencies were swine flu and 9/11. I know swine flu was one. I'm not sure if the last one before that was actually 9/11. Opioid crisis. It's not a national emergency? It actually already might be a national emergency. What about, you know, hostile foreign governments electing presidents? That's not a national emergency? I think that's the biggest national emergency we got. People just ignoring that national emergency. We have people getting shot in Aurora today, in Illinois. Active shooter. there is almost, I mean, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but we have, in America, there's too many times where I turn on the news and I want to hear about, like, Robert Mueller or, like, you know, whatever's I want to hear about the latest in the Russia probe, and instead there's some active shooter fucking up my news cycle. And don't get it the wrong way. I'm not trying to be insensitive. Obviously, I don't want anyone to die. I don't want people to die. I don't want people to get shot. I don't want people that are going to shoot people to have guns. Okay? But the more I see of this, every day, it happens again. And again. And again. And how many times? Yesterday was Valentine's Day. A year since Parkland. It's been a long year since Parkland. You know? And what about these kids? What about them? Who had their lives drastically changed because people in Congress would rather take money from the NRA than possibly lose an election. Because nothing is more important than winning an election. Tell that to Jamie Gutenberg. Tell that to the Parkland kids. Tell that to everyone who's had a friend die from gun violence. Well, what about, you know, listen, I'll take it close to home, like, gun violence. No national emergency for gun violence. No national emergency for there's more homeless people than vacant houses in America. Not that. No national emergency for a drug crisis that's actually taking the lives of young men and women all over, including my hometown. Like, I can take out my 8th grade yearbook right now, and I can cut it in half. Half! If you don't find that sick and disturbing, then you're a sadist who I don't want to be friends with. I'm not saying take it, like, you know, so, national emergency. What about the fucking planet? Earth isn't a national emergency? We need, and I'll get more into this on the Jay Parks podcast on Sunday. I wanted to do this today. I wanted to do this with 2020 Dems. But I can't do 2020 Dems because people get shot and there's a fake national emergency for a wall that isn't needed that Mexico was supposed to pay for. From a capitalist that wants to keep people out of the country. You can't teach you can't teach stupid, man. It's amazing. But, like, this planet is important. Like, we're not gonna have a planet. In 2030, we're gonna have a lot less. Our map is going to look different. The map of the United States is gonna look significantly different in 2030. When water comes washing up on the coasts. I'd declare a national emergency for that. Save our planet. Now, the big talking point this week is, oh, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There's my one mention of her. You have to mention her on every news, every podcast, everything, because that's what they told us to do. They say she's the hot button issue now. She's the firebrand now. I'm glad we got a firebrand, you know? We've been a brand for a while. Never had a firebrand before. I like having it. Anyway, no, but, like, talk about all the things that are in the new Green Deal and how it's a detriment to America, you know? But no one takes the one key out of it. First of all, everything is built on ideas. So, like, let's just say, for instance, this is going to be a bad analogy, but let's just say I'm trying to make $100, right? The goal for today is to make $100, whatever my job would be. Let's just say I only make $40. Is that better than making $0? Yes. Did I make 100? No. So yeah, you see things like, oh, we're not gonna have planes anymore. And you freak out. Like, dude, it's a proposal. And also, could I just keep in mind, could I just remind everyone that the new Green New Deal, I'm never gonna get that right. Green New Deal. Every part of that, the entire package, the entirety of the package, could be paid for with 3%, of the military budget. Don't tell me that we need that extra 3% of the military budget. Don't tell me that if we get rid of 3% of the military budget, that we're gonna cease to exist as a country. Trust me, we'll still be a Nazi police state with military police walking around if we had 3% less of the military budget. Who knew that people wanting to save the planet was such a boogeyman thing? Do you people not want to live? Because I want to live. Can I live? Man. Alright. Sunday, Jay Pork's podcast. I'll do some 2020 Dem stuff. We'll talk about this Green New Deal some more. Talk about the latest in the Mueller probe, Barr's confirmation. Got a lot of stuff. Keep it locked to Least Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Jay Porks, Dyze in your house. Late.